They don't expect you to leave. They assume you'll always be there, waiting, hoping, proving your worth. And that's exactly why your absence changes everything. See, most people think that when they walk away, they'll be forgotten. That distance will make them irrelevant. But the truth? Distance creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is what makes people obsess. At first, she won't react. She'll act like it doesn't bother her, like she's in control. But over time, doubt creeps in. She starts questioning your value, wondering if she misjudged you, if she lost something valuable without realizing it. And here's the most interesting part. Absence doesn't just make her think, it makes her feel. She starts noticing the empty space where you used to be, the moments she thought she didn't need you. Now they feel different, because human nature is wired for one undeniable truth. We crave what we can't have. But how does this transformation happen? How does your absence shift the power dynamic in ways she never expected? Today, we're breaking down the exact psychological stages she goes through when you remove yourself. Why doubt sets in, why attraction intensifies, and why the coldest thing you can do is also the most powerful. If you've ever wondered what really happens when you stop chasing, this is the moment you take your power back. So let's get into it. Number 1, she questions your value. At first, she won't react. She'll go about her life as if nothing happened, posting, laughing, spending time with friends, acting as if your absence means nothing. She might even tell herself that walking away from you was the right decision. But here's what she doesn't expect. Silence is powerful. See? As long as you were there, responding, checking in, or waiting for her attention, she never had a reason to question your value. You were just there, a constant presence in her life, something she could always return to if she wanted. And people don't question what they believe they can always have. But the second you're gone, the second you stop reaching out, stop reacting, stop chasing, everything shifts. At first, she convinces herself that she doesn't care, that she's fine. But then, the silence creeps in, the lack of messages, the missing validation, the realization that the energy she was so used to is no longer there. And suddenly, she starts to wonder, why aren't they reaching out? Were they not as into me as I thought? Did I misjudge them? Did I lose something valuable without realizing it? And that single moment, that first doubt, is what starts the chain reaction. Think about it. How many times have you only truly appreciated something after it was gone? A friendship you didn't nurture, a job you didn't value, an opportunity you didn't take seriously. It's human nature. We only start questioning what we had once. It's no longer within reach. And right now, you are the thing she no longer has access to. The worst mistake you can make at this stage, breaking the silence. Because here's the truth. If she had fully valued you before, she wouldn't have needed distance to recognize your worth. The fact that she's only questioning it now means she never really saw your full value in the first place. And if you rush back in the moment she starts wondering, you erase the doubt. You confirm to her that she was right all along, that you were always waiting for her approval. But if you hold your ground, if you keep moving, as if she never existed, as if you're too focused on your own purpose, your own growth, your own elevation, that's when the regret kicks in. She starts checking your social media, watching your stories, hoping for a clue. She asks mutual friends about you, trying to get some kind of insight. Maybe she even sends a harmless text, something casual, something vague, just to see if you'll still respond the way she expects. But when she realizes that you don't react the way she predicted, when she sees that you aren't waiting, that you aren't trying to prove anything, that's when she truly starts to feel the loss. And here's the most powerful part. This isn't manipulation. You're not playing a game. You're not winning by making her suffer. You're simply showing her what life feels like without you in it. And if she only starts appreciating you now, if she only starts questioning your value when you're gone, then that tells you everything you need to know about how she saw you before. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's exactly what this is about. self-control, the ability to stay in your own lane, to move forward without needing validation, to refuse to be someone's emotional safety net. Because the ones who make others question their value aren't the ones who chase, who beg, who wait. They're the ones who become something so rare, so focused, so untouchable, that others can't help but notice their absence. So let me ask you, are you the kind of person who lets doubt creep into your own mind? Or are you the one who makes others question what they lost? If you're ready to step into this mindset, drop this in the comments. She'll regret losing me. Say it with conviction. Own it. Because the second you start believing it, the second you stop seeking outside validation, is the moment you become someone who never has to prove their worth again. And if this message spoke to you, subscribe now. Because the deeper you go into this, the more you start to understand. This is just the beginning of something much bigger. Number 2, her ego takes a hit. She thought she had this under control. She believed you'd be like everyone else, waiting, hoping, proving your worth. In her mind, the pattern was predictable. You'd miss her, you'd reach out, and when you finally did, she'd decide whether or not to acknowledge you. That's the game. That's how it's always worked. But something feels different this time. Days go by, then weeks. No text, no reaction, no proof that you're still caught in her orbit. At first, she doesn't think much of it. She assumes you're just being stubborn. But eventually, she starts checking her phone a little more often. She posts something, maybe a song lyric, maybe a picture meant to trigger a response. She watches to see if you viewed it. And when you haven't, that's when the first real crack in her ego appears. Take Leonardo DiCaprio. He's dated some of the most beautiful, high-profile women in the world. And yet, when a relationship ends, he never looks back. He never posts cryptic messages, never seeks validation, never engages in the emotional games that most people do. And what happens? The same women who once walked away from him. Years later, they still talk about him. Not because of what he did, but because of what he didn't do. And that's exactly what's happening to her right now. She thought she could leave without consequence. She assumed you'd still be emotionally available. That's what she's used to, having options, knowing that someone is always waiting. But now, that security is gone. She starts checking your profile more often, searching for clues. She casually asks mutual friends about you, hoping they'll mention something, anything, that proves you're still thinking about her. But when they don't, frustration takes over. This isn't about love. This is about control. She didn't expect to feel this way. She thought she was the one in control of the situation. She thought she could dictate when, how, and if you two would ever reconnect. But now, she's questioning everything. She starts wondering if she miscalculated, if she underestimated you, if you were never as invested as she assumed. And that realization, it stings. That's why unpredictability is so powerful. If she expected you to chase, and you didn't, she questions it. If she expected you to be bitter, and instead, you stayed indifferent, she doesn't know how to process it. If she assumed you'd be stuck in the past, but instead, you're leveling up, she starts to wonder if she completely misjudged you. And that's when regret starts to creep in. Not because she lost you, but because she never realized what she had in the first place. Most people make the mistake of thinking that proving their worth means making some grand statement, showing off, or seeking attention. But in reality, the most powerful people don't need to prove anything. They don't need recognition. They don't need closure. They simply move forward as if nothing ever happened. And that's what makes them unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the value he places upon himself." If you still need someone's attention to feel valuable, you've already lost. But if you can sit with the silence, if you can resist the urge to react, if you can keep moving forward without hesitation, that's when you become untouchable. So now, let's be honest. Are you still letting people pull you back in just to protect their ego? Are you still giving them the satisfaction of knowing they have influence over you? Or have you finally reached the point where no one, not even the people who once had control, can shake your confidence? If you're done letting others manipulate your emotions, drop this in the comments. No one controls me. Say it! Mean it. Own it. Because the moment you fully embrace that mindset, you'll never have to second-guess your worth again. And if you're ready to completely shift the way you see relationships, subscribe now. Because the deeper we go, the more you'll realize this isn't just about handling someone else's ego. It's about mastering your own power. Number 3. She feels a power shift. She still thinks she's in control. Even after your silence, even after the absence, she convinces herself that things will go back to normal. Maybe you're just taking time. Maybe you're playing hard to get. Maybe you're just waiting for the right moment to reach out. That's what she tells herself. But then something happens. Something she didn't see coming. Instead of staying stuck, instead of looking for a way back to her, you change. And not in the way she expected. You don't just disappear, you evolve. And when she finally notices, that's when the power shift happens. At first, she pretends not to care. She tells herself it doesn't matter. But then, she starts seeing things she wasn't prepared for. Maybe she hears from a friend that you've been doing better than ever. Maybe she stumbles across a picture of you looking sharper, more confident. Maybe she realizes you're out there, living your life, without a single thought about her. And that stings. Look at Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. For years, their relationship was a cycle of breakup, reconcile, break up again, until one day, it wasn't. One day, Justin moved on. He got engaged. He got married. And suddenly, all the control Selena once had was gone. She wasn't the center of his world anymore. And that's what's happening here. She never thought she would have to feel this way. She assumed you'd stay in the same place, emotionally tied to her, always waiting in the background. But now, she's realizing something that she never expected. You were never as attached as she thought. That's when the panic starts creeping in. She starts looking for signs that she still has power. She posts something, hoping you'll notice. She asks mutual friends about you, hoping they'll say something that reassures her. Maybe she even texts you, something casual, something harmless, just to see how you'll react. But it's not about missing you. It's about seeing if she still has influence over you. And here's where most people fail. The second they sense that she's paying attention again, they break character. They get excited. They overanalyze the meaning behind her words. They think, this is my chance. And just like that, they hand the power right back to her. But if you don't react, if you don't give her the satisfaction of knowing that she still affects you, that's when the power shift is complete. Because now, she's not just thinking about you, she's thinking about how she lost control. She starts questioning everything. Why isn't he acting like before? Why does he seem different? Did I misjudge him? Was he always this strong? And the worst part for her? She realizes she no longer has a say in what happens next. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about playing games. This is about finally understanding that power belongs to the person who needs less. The person who is willing to walk away, not because they have to, but because they choose to. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the value he places upon himself." So now, the question isn't about her anymore. It's about you. Do you still see yourself as the same person who once needed her attention? Or have you become someone she could never reach again? If you've stepped into this new mindset, drop this in the comments. I am not the same. Say it, own it. Because once you fully embrace it, you'll realize something. This isn't just about getting over someone. This is about never being the same person they left behind. And if you're ready to truly take control of your life, subscribe now, because what happens next isn't just about letting go. It's about using this shift to become unstoppable. Number 4, her attraction intensifies. Attraction is a strange thing. It doesn't follow logic. It doesn't care about fairness. It thrives on mystery, scarcity, and the unknown. And right now, something is happening that she never expected. You're becoming more attractive to her than ever before. At first, she dismissed you. She walked away with confidence, thinking she had the upper hand. She believed she had figured you out, that you would react like every other guy, chasing, proving, waiting. But that didn't happen. Instead, you disappeared. You became unavailable, and in doing so, you became more desirable. She might not even understand why she suddenly feels drawn to you again. She won't admit it, not even to herself. But deep down, she can feel it. See, attraction isn't about looks. It's about energy. It's about presence. And right now, your presence is doing something powerful. It's forcing her to chase. Think about the concept of scarcity. The less available something is, the more valuable it becomes. This is why luxury brands don't flood the market with their products. This is why high-status individuals don't make themselves accessible to just anyone. And this is exactly why she's starting to feel something for you again. Because you're no longer easy to reach. Look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. When they first got together, their chemistry was undeniable. But what made their relationship even more intense? Uncertainty. The mystery. The tension. The fact that nothing about their connection was predictable. And that's what made their attraction last. Until the moment predictability set in. And that's what's happening here. Before, she knew everything about you. She knew how you'd react. She knew how much you cared. And she knew she could have your attention whenever she wanted. But now, she has no idea what you're thinking. She doesn't know if you still care. She doesn't know if you've moved on, if you found someone new, if you even remember her at all. And that's what's making her attraction intensify. Attraction needs uncertainty. When things are too predictable, when they're too easy, they lose their thrill. And right now, you've become the unknown. She starts looking at your social media, wondering what's going on in your life. She starts bringing you up in conversations, asking mutual friends about you. She might even start trying to get your attention, liking an old post, sending a casual text, finding a reason to run into you. And here's the moment where most guys fail. The second they sense that she's interested again, they throw all of their progress away. They start over-explaining, trying to prove something, trying to win her back. And just like that, the mystery is gone. The attraction fades. She realizes she was never really drawn to you. She was just drawn to the chase. But if you stay in your power, if you remain indifferent, if you continue to be an unpredictable force in her life, that's when you become unforgettable. Because now, you're no longer just a guy she used to know. You're a mystery she can't solve. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man should be upright, not be kept upright." That means your confidence shouldn't depend on whether or not she comes back. Your value shouldn't be based on her attraction. The moment you truly understand this, you'll never need to chase again. So let's be real. Are you still giving her the satisfaction of knowing she can have you anytime she wants? Or are you finally becoming the kind of man who attracts naturally, effortlessly, without ever needing to prove his worth? If you've stepped into that level of confidence, drop this in the comments. I don't chase. Say it. Believe it. And watch how everything shifts. And if you're serious about mastering this power, subscribe now. Because attraction isn't just about being wanted. It's about becoming the kind of person who never has to seek validation again. Number 5. She tests you. She can feel the shift. She doesn't know how or why, but suddenly, she's not the one in control anymore. And that doesn't sit well with her. Attraction has intensified. The power dynamic has changed. You're no longer the guy she could predict, the guy she assumed would always be there. And now, she has a new problem. She doesn't know where she stands with you, so what does she do? She tests you. At first, it's subtle. A text that seems innocent. "Hey, hope you're doing well." A casual reaction to one of your posts. A question through a mutual friend, just to see if you'll take the bait. It's not about reconnecting. It's about seeing if she still has an effect on you. And this is where most guys fail. The moment they see that little breadcrumb of attention, they jump on it. They take it as a sign. They start over-explaining, over-investing, over-proving. And just like that, the balance resets. She knows she still has control. She knows she can still pull you back whenever she wants. And that initial attraction? Gone. Because the test wasn't about reconnecting. It was about power. Think about Hollywood's biggest stars. The ones who stay in the spotlight without even trying. Do you think they chase every opportunity? Every comment? Every bit of attention? No. The ones who hold power in the industry are the ones who know when to engage and when to walk away. And that's exactly how you need to handle her tests. She'll push in different ways. Maybe she'll act distant just to see if you notice. Maybe she'll bring up another guy just to gauge your reaction. Maybe she'll ask indirect questions, trying to get a sense of whether you still care. It's not about the words she says. It's about what she's looking for. She wants to see if you're the same guy she left behind. But here's the key. When you pass these tests, her attraction doesn't just stay the same. It skyrockets. Because now, she's dealing with something rare. A guy who can't be manipulated. A guy who won't fold under pressure. A guy who doesn't need validation from her or from anyone. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And this is the moment where you prove it. So ask yourself, are you still falling into old patterns? Are you still letting emotions dictate your responses? Or are you finally stepping into the version of yourself that doesn't react, doesn't chase, and doesn't need external approval? If you know you've reached that level, drop this in the comments. I don't react. Say it. Own it. Because the second you stop falling for her tests, you stop being an option. You become the only choice. And if you're serious about learning how to master this mindset, subscribe now. Because the truth is, she's not just testing you. Life is testing you. And only the ones who stay in control will come out on top. Number 6. She considers other options. She's confused. She's frustrated. And most importantly, she's losing control. The power dynamic that once favored her has shifted. And now, she's left with a choice. Accept that you've changed, or try to regain the upper hand. So what does she do? She looks for a replacement. At first, it's not even about finding someone new. It's about regaining a sense of power. She wants to feel in control again. She wants to feel desired. She wants to prove to herself, and maybe even to you, that she can move on effortlessly. So she explores her options. Maybe she goes on a few dates. Maybe she starts texting someone she previously ignored. Maybe she posts pictures with someone else, hoping you'll see them. It's not about the new guy. It's about seeing if you react. And this is where a lot of guys lose their composure. They see her moving on and they panic. They start thinking, did she ever really care? Was I just another option? Should I say something before it's too late? And the moment they react, the moment they show they're affected, they undo all the progress they made. Because here's the truth. She's not looking for love right now. She's looking for control. Think about how high-status men operate. Do they chase after women who leave them? Do they waste energy worrying about someone else's choices? No. They understand that attraction isn't about possession. It's about positioning. The more you show that you're unfazed, the more power you hold. The more you focus on your own growth instead of her decisions, the more valuable you become. So let's talk about the reality of rebound relationships. We've all seen it. A breakup happens, and within weeks, sometimes even days, someone is already in a new relationship. But if you look closely, it's not about genuine connection. It's about filling a void. It's about proving something to themselves and to the person they left behind. She's doing the same thing now. She's exploring other options, not because she's found something better, but because she doesn't want to sit with the discomfort of losing control. But here's the key, you have to let her. You have to be okay with the fact that she's searching for something to replace what she lost. Because the harder she tries, the more she'll realize something she never expected. She's not finding what she's looking for, because a connection built on regaining power never lasts. She's going to compare every guy to you. She's going to expect them to make her feel the way she once felt around you. But there's a problem. You changed. You're no longer accessible. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer that version of yourself who was waiting for her validation. And that's something no one else can replicate. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And right now, the only question that matters is, are your thoughts still wrapped around what she's doing? Or have you finally started focusing on what you are becoming? Because the ones who understand this, they never chase, they never compete. They simply become the kind of person that no one else can replace. If you know you're on that path, drop this in the comments. I don't compete. And if you're serious about leveling up, subscribe now. Because the truth is, her looking at other options isn't a loss. It's a test. And the ones who pass it, they never look back. Number 7. She either submits or moves on. This is the breaking point. The moment where everything becomes clear. She's tested you. She's tried to regain control. She's considered other options, hoping to replace what she lost. But now she faces a choice. Fully submit to the new dynamic or walk away for good. And here's what most people don't realize. This was always the final stage. Because attraction is never about games, it's about power. It's about who leads and who follows. And right now, she's realizing something that changes everything. You are no longer someone she can control. At first, she resists. She tells herself that she doesn't care, that she can move on, that you were never that important anyway. But if that were true, she wouldn't still be thinking about you. She wouldn't be replaying moments in her head, trying to figure out why things didn't go the way she expected. She wouldn't be feeling this pull, the same pull that kept her interested in the first place. So she does what everyone does when they're faced with a power shift. She makes a decision. Some women submit. They drop their pride. They stop fighting the inevitable. They accept that they were wrong about you, that you were more valuable than they thought, that they made a mistake walking away, that they need to adjust their approach if they want to be in your life again. This is when you see them start acting differently. Maybe she suddenly reaches out, more direct than before. Maybe she starts mirroring your energy, matching your detachment, showing more respect. Maybe, for the first time, she genuinely tries, because now she sees you as someone worth chasing, not just another option. Other women? They move on. They can't handle the shift. They need to feel in control, and when they realize they no longer have it, they'd rather leave than admit defeat. And this is where you see the biggest emotional reactions. Some will lash out. They'll act like they never cared. They'll try to get under your skin, maybe even insult you, just to get one last reaction. Others will vanish completely, pretending you never mattered. But the truth? It always catches up, because no matter which path she takes, submission or walking away, the decision is now hers. But the power is yours. Look at how high-value men operate. Do they beg for someone to stay? Do they force a connection? Do they chase after someone who has clearly made their choice? No. They let people make their decisions, knowing that they are always the prize. And that's the real lesson here. It was never about her. It was never about winning her back, proving anything, or trying to control the outcome. It was always about becoming the kind of person who never has to chase again. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." And that's what this is about. Acceptance. She either stays or she goes. Either way, you've already won. And that's it. At this point, everything is clear. She either steps up and respects the new dynamic, or she walks away for good. Either way, you're not chasing, you're not proving, you're not waiting. Because the real power move was never about getting her back. It was about becoming someone she could never control again. If this message hit home, let me know in the comments. I've already won. And if you're ready to take your mindset even further, subscribe now. Because this isn't just about relationships. It's about mastering yourself in every aspect of life.